Utility workers see it every day. More and more distracted drivers going through their roadside work zones.
People are coming through cell phones, actually texting, as they come through the work zones while they're speeding, reading books, papers, applying makeup. I mean, you see it all. It's kind of unbelievable what you'll see, if you just stand out here for a few minutes.
Don Simmons Utility is among thousands concerned about the dramatic increase in distracted driving incidents.
Driving is full of distractions to begin with. You have to be aware of your surroundings. You have to watch other traffic. You have to look at road signs, know where you're going. Using your cell phone while driving, you are 23 times more likely to be in an accident than if you're not on your phone.
Trooper Sean Ramsey says it only takes a moment of distraction to cause an accident, and that's been a factor in multiple work zone incidents. This Minnesota utility crew is among several that have had a close call.
We had 3 big trucks here. Everything had flashing lights. Everyone had high vis on. To me, that should have stood out to the individual who was driving. And I mean, he was obviously distracted thinking about his next load or so. Who knows what he was doing.
Ross Byreth was one of 3 linemen high up in buckets on a remote highway when a large dump truck came barreling through their work zone. It failed to slow down as Ross was pulling a line across the highway from one pole to another.
What I remember is when I seen the truck, I looked over at the wire and I knew it wasn't high enough. And all I could think was, I can't get it higher that fast. So I figured, let it go, and it went down, and it went down, but just not far enough, because it was at an angle off that pole, and it just snagged the truck, and yeah, just couldn't get down fast enough. And he was moving, he couldn't slow it down. It was a big gravel truck, and yeah, I mean, it happened so fast. These 2 guys and these poles, this pole and this pole, they ducked. Everyone ducked for cover.
On the ground, the flagger got caught in the snagged line and was knocked down.
When I stood up in that truck and seen this individual laying on the ground, I was scared. I was very scared what may have happened to Tyler. Because 35 feet in the air, you can't see. And I didn't see the wire actually hit him because I was in the bottom of my bucket, so I would have gotten maybe my head ripped off or something like that. We don't know what's going to happen. So I was very scared. He was bruised up a little bit. He walked with a limp for a few days, but we were lucky that this end of that neutral was not secured. If that would have been secured, he could have been very seriously hurt.
Travis Kammerer recounts the close call at his neighboring utility.
We were converting some overhead to underground, and we were clearing the overhead, and all of a sudden, just a semi drove by, got way too close to our truck, and hit the mirror of his truck, hit the pole rack on our truck. Yeah, it was very shocking when he made contact with the truck. It was definitely a close call. It would have been, someone could have been right there on the side of the truck that got hit. So that could have been a lot worse situation than what it was.
These workers were lucky. Others have not fared as well. At least 4 utility workers have been killed and many more injured in multiple serious incidents. Construction workers and other roadside workers have also been killed or injured. Utilities and others whose work requires sharing the road are responding in a number of ways, working to secure tougher new laws and higher fines in work zones. Others are taking direct measures. Travis's utility is among those that now use cameras mounted on cones to gather information about car speeds, driver behavior, and work zone conditions. Other utilities have worked to enhance awareness with workers and drivers.
The last couple of years, we really heightened work zone safety and proper work zone setups, and making sure, they are visible with the high-vis clothing. We, in some situation, add extra vehicles to the actual work zone as extra protection for the guys that are trying to do the work.
The biggest thing that a utility worker can do is be visible. When you're setting your job up and you're thinking about your job, but you're not thinking so much about what it would be like as a driver coming through there. And if they don't know you're there, they don't see you're there, and they're not warned, it could be really dangerous.
Jim Miles and other safety leaders recommend workers be familiar with the Manual on Uniform Traffic Control Devices for Streets and Highways, known as the MUTCD. Among other things, It addresses traffic control tools and traffic management techniques. Simmons Utility has created their own manual that includes information from it. In general, all workers should take these measures when working outside. Always use warning signs and place them far enough out so approaching drivers are alerted well in advance. Wear high-visibility shirts, jackets, or vests at all times, regardless of conditions. Always put out cones and place them at distances that give workers room to move around their equipment. Use flaggers more often to help with traffic control. Dan and his crew had one flagger, but after their incident decided they needed more.
The lineman or the line superintendents or management has to say, okay, we're going to take this day and we will give you this extra help that we need for the ground personnel to run the sign, to put a vest on, and to hold a stop and slow sign or to stop vehicles for us while we do our job here. I guess don't be afraid to ask for more help. I mean, that's changed our attitude in that aspect.
They and others also reach out to law enforcement for help in busier areas. Drivers tend to slow down when they see those flashing red and blue lights.
If we need them, we got a number we can call. They will come out and sit on the work zone and help control traffic and help for those that want to disobey the work zone. They're there to take care of that too. So we really appreciate that.
Miles urges workers to plan as best you can.
Think of the worst thing that could possibly happen. What is the traffic going to be like before you finish that job? And then ask yourself, point blank, just ask yourself, if I'm in a vehicle outside of this utility crew and I'm coming up to this job site, have I done an effective job setting the work zone up so that the crew is visible and that the person in the vehicle coming into that work zone knows what they're doing and what they're expected to do?
If needed, stop and reassess the work zone if traffic increases significantly.
That's an immediate hazard that you have to change. You have to call a timeout and say, hey, this is getting too busy. We either need to set up a little differently with our work site set up, or we need to pull off of this job and come back at a time when it's not so busy. So that definitely is something you want to consider whenever you're setting up. Is this a busy road because families are trying to rush their kids to school or they're trying to get to work for the day? And what time do they come home? Do our absolute best to consider the absolute worst case scenario on a particular traffic that may be coming through our work zone.
Safe Electricity and Utilities are also working to educate drivers on the need to focus and slow down around utility roadside work zones.
I would hope that every driver coming through a work zone has the respect for the people that are trying to do their job and go home to their families every night, that they don't endanger them by trying to shave 5 minutes off of their travel, that they realize that there are human beings out there trying to do their work, and that they have every right to be able to do that work safely and go home to their family.